Welcome back to Behind the VR Headset. Today we have a couple of developers, Anthony and Aaron, and they are the devs of a game called Arcaxer. How you doing, guys?
Great. Thanks for having us on the show.
Yeah,
Doing good. Yeah, excited to talk about it.
Yeah, so am I. Thanks for coming on. I know you were talking to Skiva, and because what I've started doing is covering indie games, and I just said to him, just keep an eye out for me. See, if you see anything interesting, and he put us in touch. So yeah, good old Skiva. He was my first guest here. Very.
Oh, that's awesome.
He's really knowledgeable VR. He's got a great podcast as well. So let's talk about you guys first. Where are you from?
Good thing. We're based in Orange County, California.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And we've been making games together for super
7
long
years.
time now. 7 years now.
And that's just out of school.
7 years. Wow. So you went to school together, did you?
Right. We went to school at Cal State Chico in Northern California.
Right. Okay.
It's not. It's a CSU, which is less fancy.
Yeah.
Oh, what's a CSU? Sorry, I don't.
Oh, California State University.
Oh,
as opposed to University of California, which are the nice schools.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So did you guys study like a subject to do with game development, or was it something that you did as a hobby, or?
Yeah, we studied, at the time it was called Applied Computer Graphics, and it was kind of this whole encompassing major for like 3D modeling, animation, game programming, and then there were kind of different tracks you could go down, so you could specialize in just programming or specialize in rigging or concept art or whatever you wanted to do.
Right, okay. And what was the first ever game that you guys created?
Oh boy.
Was that Ice Rage?
Do we count the games we made in school?
Yeah,
I think Ice Rage was our first collaboration.
Yeah, I think the first thing we worked on together was just an infinite runner, just the most basic thing you could imagine. I don't think it was actually released anywhere significant other than the school website.
Yeah. And how long did you guys work on that for?
Probably like a month. It was, it was like a school project.
2 nights.
No.
I actually wasn't in that class. I just did some assets for fun.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
How old were you when you made your first game then?
Ooh. Well, if you want to say like first game, I've been like playing with game development since I was a little kid. So I think I was making games in, if anyone remembers, Dark Basic, which was like a game development kit that allowed you to program in BASIC. And I was doing that as early as like 2002. I think I was like 10 years old.
Oh wow, you started pretty young.
Yeah. So I've definitely been doing this for a long time.
So what was your first gaming experience, Aaron? What's the first game that you ever played?
First game I ever played? Well, that's a hard question. I think my uncle lent me his NES when I was like 8. So it would have been Super Mario Bros. And Duck Hunt.
Oh, nice.
Had that classic combo.
Nice. How about you, Anthony?
Let's think. I think my first video game experience was probably, I think our neighbor, when I was really young, had a PlayStation 1, and the only game he had was Jeremy McGrath Motocross 98. So my first gaming experience was a motocross game on the PlayStation. And all I remember was, I think I was playing with my little sister, and I didn't know if I was the top or bottom screen, and I thought I was losing, so I started crying. Until my dad pointed out that I was actually the other screen, and then I stopped crying because I was winning, obviously.
Yeah, I think my early ones is like the ZX Spectrum, and then like the NES. The NES is the main. That was the first ever home console, wasn't it? Well, the mainstream one, right? So, what about?
Yeah, I mean, it was like what, 3rd or 4th gen after the Atari and a bunch of other really hard, only for fanatic pieces of hardware.
Yeah, it was. I've got the NES Mini. That's pretty cool to put on every once in a while.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Yeah, I actually want one of those.
Yeah,
I'm so sad I missed the the SNES drop.
yeah, you can. I think you can load like over 900 games on there. Like every game that's ever come out, you can just load it onto it.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
wow.
pretty-
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. Just get a couple of controllers, and yeah, I play with my nephew sometimes. He's quite young, but he loves it as well. So
That's awesome. Give him an education in the classics.
yes. What headsets do you guys use at the moment?
Mostly just the Quest 2.
Yeah.
But because we port our game to just about every headset that exists, I use a little bit of everything. I've been using the Pico.
Right. Okay.
Like some headsets a lot of people probably haven't heard of, like the Qi 3, the Nolo Sonic. What else? Obviously, I play around with some of the Steam VR headsets, like the classic Vive. I don't have an Index.
Yeah, we gotta get you an
unfortunately.
Index so we can finally fix that weird problem.
What's
Yeah.
what's the problem? I've got an Index, so I can test anything out.
So, some of the people that play our game with Index say that I think there's some control
The
issues.
scenery
that,
is off.
Yeah,
Right.
I need to. And obviously, when you don't have the headset, it's a little hard to troubleshoot. We just kind of rely on our players to tell us what's wrong, and then I kind of just try to eyeball it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's hard with doing this whole IndieVR thing. So I bought a PS5, which was for the PSVR 2, but that's in 6 months or whatever it's going to be. And then
Yeah.
I switched to this IndieVR thing, and then my friend Mac in VR was like, "You need to get a Quest 2 again." And I really didn't want to because I was already sold that one, and I'll keep my Index. But I'm really glad I did because I found some real like hidden gems. I found some really good games on App Lab. How long has your
Oh yeah.
game been on App Lab for?
Let's see. I think we launched on App Lab like right when App Lab came out. We were one of the first games on the App Lab platform, which
Right.
was
It was
what
like
was it, Aaron? Like
February 21?
Yeah.
Early 2021.
that
Right.
sounds about right.
Yeah.
And how long?
We were the first batch of non-meta select games. We were number 1 in that. And then I think we were like number 30 with our demo, which pissed off a lot of people.
Yeah.
How long have you been working on Arcaxer?
I think we started. Well, I started like 2018. But it was
Oh,
like
okay.
I wasn't putting a lot of time into it. It was just kind of like a fun side project. I just wanted to play around with a cool idea for a combat system I had. But it wasn't until around 2019, 2020 that we really started putting a lot of time into it. That's when I brought Aaron on to start making art for the game.
Yeah, around 2019, yeah, you'd had the idea kind of kicking around for a while, and it still hadn't shaped up into Arcaxer yet, but I had started working on the first dungeon and the wizard.
Yeah.
And then from there,
when
kind of...
when I started the game, it actually had a different name. We were going to call it Catalyst, and it was going to be a very different experience. I was actually building the whole game around playing it as a streamer, which eventually I decided that was way too limiting, because not only is VR
Pretty
already
niche.
kind of a niche platform, but limiting the game to needing an audience on a streaming platform would have lowered our possible players to probably just 1 or 2.
Just, yeah, one person we could drive. It was still a fun idea, though. It was like, kind of like Demios, honestly, where, like, the audience was sending crap after you and you had to kill it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool. And what made it evolve into Arcaxer then? Where did you have? Was there a point where you thought, right, I need to change the way this game is?
Yeah, I at some point I basically just decided I'm just gonna rip out all this Twitch and streamer integration, and I just focused mainly on the turn-based combat system and our third person, first person perspective switching mechanic, and I just decided,
Yeah.
okay, this is gonna be the main focus of the game now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of started off as like an exercise, and then you realize the combat was too good to sink into that game.
Right.
Cool. I mean, I did play the game. I haven't finished it. It's really good
There's a
fun.
lot.
Yeah, it looks great. The first thing I noticed was like the graphics and the colours. It looked really cool. So, really, really good job on that you guys have done. What was the main inspiration for the game? Like, was it some TV shows you watched or other games you played, or?
That's a good question. I kind of originally the whole game was kind of based around this idea. Well, it still is. The story is based around this idea of your digital data online, kind of forming this persona in this digital world, and I don't really know where I got that idea. I assume I just watched a lot of Black Mirror or something, and thought I could turn that into some kind of cool story concept.
Yeah.
That was the time period of Black Mirror, Steins Gate, and what's the Sword Art Online, so that they all kind of blended together, I
Kind of
guess.
mashed together. A lot of it was just me and Aaron kind of spitballing stupid ideas and
Yeah.
not really thinking them over that much, and just kind of first thing that comes to our head, okay, that's in the game now.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool. That's really cool. And is it just you two that are working on the game?
Yeah,
So
for
we're
all
the-
intents and purposes.
Yeah, we're the two primary developers. It's mainly me doing the programming, and then Aaron does the 3D art, and then we sometimes contract people like Madison did our concept art for like our store page splash screen and stuff like that. We've had
Yeah.
some community members do music for us.
Okay.
Like that guy in Discord did a whole bunch of metal covers of our battle tracks, which is really cool. And you can actually listen to those in game if you get his guitar weapon. It'll switch all the music in the game to his metal covers.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Okay. And
Yeah, that one's a lot of fun.
what would you say, somebody asked you without knowing what Arcaxer is, how would you define it if you were somebody who just didn't know the game?
It is a turn-based action RPG with a third-person overworld and first-person combat.
Excellent. I did play, I think it was some Final Fantasy decades ago on one of the PlayStations, maybe PlayStation 1, and I didn't like the turn-based combat. I don't know what it was, so that kind of put me off, and I never picked up a game again that had turn-based combat until I played your game. And it's crazy because it's completely changed the way that I that I think of turn-based combat now. It's really cool because you're obviously using VR and you've actually got to physically move in the world as well, and then you got all the different lists of moves that you can do, and I found it really, really immersive. I was really like pleasantly surprised by the game. What made you want to do the turn-based side of things as opposed to, like just a what do you call it, button bashing brawler kind of thing?
Well, we actually, so we had an earlier game that we worked on before Arcaxer called Wave Magic. You can still play it. It's unfinished though. It's basically just one world, but it kind of shows you our very, very early ideas for this game. It has kind of the same third-person overworld and first-person combat, but in that game, the first-person combat is it's not turn-based. It's basically full action, kind of. It almost plays like a wave shooter. So you enter a random encounter, and then enemies just kind of spawn at you until you defeat them, and then that
Hence
encounter's
the
over.
name.
And I wanted to switch it to turn-based because one, a big selling point I think of our game is the kind of classic JRPG nostalgia, and I really like the pacing of combat in turn-based games. It's a little, there's something about turn-based combat I think that adds a little bit of drama, and a little bit of, I guess it kind of lets you slow down and think about your moves more. You're not constantly think like, okay, I gotta dodge and attack right now. On your turn, you can kind of sit there for a second, plan. Okay, if I hit this guy with these abilities, I can do this, and then finish the turn faster this way. And it kind of gives you a chance to slow down, I guess, and plan out your moves without constantly being go go go.
Yes, it's more. I say it's more strategic, isn't it? You got
Yeah, a little more.
Yeah.
little more methodical, but then obviously since you have to physically dodge attacks, you still have that VR kind of action exercise mechanic, I guess.
Yeah. And the game's been out for a while, hasn't it, on Steam? Is that right?
Yeah, it's been out on Steam since I think probably around the time it came out on App Lab.
Mm-hmm.
May 2021 was when we finished the first like full final this is the game build.
Right, okay.
Okay.
And then March 2022 is when we finished the post game content patch, the Moneyfingers Resort and Casino.
Right, okay. Because I know what's going on at the moment is you guys are looking to bring the game out fully on the Quest 2 storefront, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
We're really
and-
excited about that.
And that will be happening on October 13th.
October 13th.
Which is super huge for us. We worked so long to try to get this game on the official MetaQuest store, and now that it's actually happening, it's kind of like, it's crazy. It feels like we're in a dream.
Yeah, it's very surreal. I'd kind of given up on it happening when we finally got the call.
Oh, that's great, because all the hard work you guys have put into the game, and it does show in the game. So yeah, really well done on that, guys. That's going to be a massive.
Thank you.
That's going to be massive for your game. It's going to be crazy.
Fingers
you so
crossed.
much.
I don't know how fingers crossed in here.
So what's the process like? Because I know you guys obviously been in App Lab for a little while. What kind of boxes do you need to tick to go from App Lab to the store, the Quest store? Because I know the developer I've had on here of Sale as well, he's trying to work towards that as well.
Yeah, so as of right now, there's not a process. I think we're part of a group of, I don't know, a half dozen games that are moving. So it seems like they're trying to start making that pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
But we were lucky enough that we got our names out there and we had our contacts and we had people who knew people. And eventually our meta representative kind of reached out to someone who knew us, and that was how we did it. So I think it's just grassroots organizing, getting on YouTube channels and talking to community members. That's really, I think, what did it for us. And of course, Anthony made a really fun game.
Yeah.
It's still definitely kind of a black box. Figure out exactly how to get onto the official store. But I think the most important thing is to have something that Meta thinks will be successful on their platform. I think it's important to stand out in some way.
Yeah.
And then two, I think it's really important to have that kind of growing audience for your game on App Lab. I think a big selling point for us was all the reviews we had. I think having a lot of positive reviews definitely helps. And then just getting your game out there and just, I guess, trying to get Meta to eventually notice you.
Yeah.
Senpai did it. We did it.
Yeah, it must be really tough because there's a lot of competition out there. I've, like I said, recently gone more into App Lab games and things like that, and there's a lot out there, isn't there? But your game's pretty unique. I haven't seen anything like that in VR. Are there any games that you know of that are similar, or?
There's quite a few games that do bits and pieces.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything like our combat system specifically. Obviously, there's stuff like Demio, which it's quite different, but you still kind of have that tabletop element with RPG combat.
Yeah.
And as far as like roguelike elements, there's things out there like Ancient Dungeon, which was another App Lab game that recently moved to the official store as well.
Yes.
But yeah, I think our game does stand out enough from the existing RPGs that are already out there.
One thing I did wonder is, what is an Arcaxer?
That's a good question. It's a made-up word. It's the word arcane combined with the word Axer.
Okay.
So it's.
Ashley would want us to say. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I guess it kind of represents the whole theme of the game, which is kind of fantasy magic combined with this kind of technology sci-fi theme.
Yeah.
the retro '90s hacksaw aesthetic. Yeah.
Yes.
Or as Ashley, our media manager, would like to say, you are the Arcaxer.
Cool.
True.
Okay. Yeah, I was always wondering because I do like RPG games, but I haven't played loads of them. So I thought it was like a word, I don't know, from like the RPG world. So how did you make that name up? Did you just have a brainstorm of loads of different words and stick them together, or did you just one day go, Arcaxer?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it just kind of popped into my head. I mean, not super hard to combine two words together into something that sounds cool, but
Yeah.
I thought that sounded cool enough. I said that sounds like a kind of 90s sci-fi sounding video game word, and I guess it just stuck.
Yeah, we've been living with it for so long at this point. I don't remember when it started.
Yeah.
With the
My phone no longer tries to autocorrect it to Archer anymore, so that's good.
Oh, good.
with the art style, what made you go in that direction? Because I love the art style; it's really cool. The first thing I did when I put the headset on and went into the game, it just looks really cool. What made you go that way as opposed to, say, if people, something more realistic?
Well, I'm glad you like it. It's two really good answers, two really simple answers. One is I like hand painted, stylized stuff. It makes me happy.
Yeah.
And reality is boring, so I want to do something like that. And then two is it's really low weight. It doesn't need any reflection maps. It doesn't need normal maps. It doesn't need specs or a PBR pipeline. It's just flat hand painted textures with a simple lighting system.
Yeah.
So those are like the two big reasons.
Oh, okay. And with the Arcaxer abilities, do you want to talk a bit more about the abilities that you have at your disposal?
Yeah, sure thing. So in combat, you have 8 different what we call hacks, which are kind of like the game's magical spells. And you have those assigned to each cardinal direction on your thumbstick, so you can switch to those at any time by moving the thumbstick. And then in addition to that, you have a weapon on each hand, which you can summon at any time by just pulling the grip trigger. If you have a melee weapon like a sword and you're staring at an enemy that's not flying, you'll teleport to it. So you can summon your weapon, you can teleport to it, and then you can hit it with your weapon for damage. We do kind of have this unique concept in the game where, as part of the story, for what we call entities in the game to deal damage to each other, they have to sacrifice some of their own life. So if you're not using the hacks, you actually have to spend HP to do damage with your weapons. And this kind of works into the combat mechanics where, so basically using a hack, you'll use your action points. And if you run out of action points, your turn will end. But if you're using a weapon, you can keep spending HP as much as you want until you eventually die, which I don't advise. But we have this mechanic where if you finish all enemies in one turn, you'll get a big EXP bonus. So we kind of encourage you to figure out how to finish off all the enemies in an encounter kind of in one turn, which is why the spending HP to do damage with the weapons plays in. Because what you can do is you can kind of get one enemy's HP down with your hacks, and then when it gets low, you can finish it off with a weapon, which won't spend any action points. And if you do finish off an enemy, you'll get action points back, which will allow you to kind of combo in the next enemy and the next enemy, and then try to take them all out in one turn.
Yeah, I think I did that once. I think kill enemies in one turn. It's not easy.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a puzzle almost to try to figure out the best way to figure that out.
Yeah, I did get. Tell you what I got up to in the game. I went into the second, like the desert world.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I've been to the
Sandy Bridge.
Yeah, I've been to the desert world. I've got the hoverboard, which is really cool. I was flying around for ages on that, trying to collect all the little treasure chests and stuff. That's a nice little touch. What made you think of that? The hoverboard? Like, what did you just watch Back to the Future one day and be like, oh, that should be in our game?
I actually think the entire reason we added the hoverboard was because we had Madison do the concept for the character, and the character had this big USB stick on the back. We didn't tell her to do that. She just kind of design that on our own. And I think we both said, like, it'd be really cool as if you could
too much
ride
fun.
on that.
Yeah.
And we were trying to come up with a cool mount or movement mechanic in the game, and that just kind of fit all together. We said, okay, yeah, hoverboard. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool. And I didn't notice it until I got to the desert world. Then I looked at the back, and then when it turned into a hoverboard, I didn't even notice it. There was a USB on his back. It was crazy. I was like, oh my god, that's so cool.
Yeah, I'm really happy with the way that worked out.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's really fun.
it is really fun. I was flying around for ages, and then there's little hidden stuff, isn't there, that you got to find. I was doing a bit of that. It's
The-
yeah, go on.
So, the naughty bananas, yeah, they're a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Because
I
is
think-
it always default in Unity that bananas are the blank picture, or is
No.
that something we did?
No, that was so we had all the icons in the game have like a default icon before things load in,
Right.
which I just set to a banana, which kind of became a joke in the community because when the game was in alpha, things would inevitably break and people's UI would just turn into bananas.
Oh, really?
So as a joke, I added this quest where you have to find the quote naughty bananas, which are just items that I hid in places in the game where you wouldn't expect things to be. So
Yeah.
they're kind of in places that it feels like you're not supposed to be there. So that was kind of the joke.
Yeah,
Well, at least one of those you put, and you were like, "There's no way they can actually get to this." And like 5 minutes later, Dino had it.
Yeah, it always surprises me how fast the community finds things that I didn't think they would find for months.
yeah. There's like a little riddle behind it, isn't it, about finding the naughty bananas? I found 2 of them. That I couldn't find the others. I'll have to look a bit harder.
You're close. I think there's just 3.
Okay.
Yeah. That third one is it's a real pain.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to say where they are, but they were quite well hidden. And that's really cool because it gives you something to do a bit more than just like the core gameplay, to have little kind of like side quests and stuff. I'm guessing that unlocks something pretty cool.
Yes, that actually unlocks a weapon called the Bonado, which is a reference to the Monado from Xenoblade Chronicles. It looks like the weapon from that game, but it's a giant banana.
Oh, cool.
Banana.
Yeah, I need to find that other banana, definitely. So the basis of the game is it's you're going through dungeons. You've obviously got the outside kind of more open worlds, and then you go up levels, don't you? And it's not called a tower. What was the name of it?
It's the stack.
That's it, the stack. Yes. And I can't remember what I got up to, but I don't think I got to this boss who I couldn't beat.
Was it the big blue imp or was it Taskmaster, the guy with the computer for a head?
It was the imp, I believe.
Oh
okay.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's the first boss fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the first real boss in the game.
Yeah, because I got him down to quite low, and then he just goes crazy, and I'm just like, what am I supposed to do there?
Yeah, that final
that
barrage.
is another. We have a mechanic where most of the story bosses have a final attack, which is like their last ditch effort to kill you.
I did notice that, yeah. And how many bosses are there in the game?
Let's see. There's one. Well, there's actually more than one per block. How many bosses are there, Aaron? You would know since
Let's
you had
see.
to.
I mean,
Make all the art for
so
them.
there's the imp, then there's Taskmaster, and then there's Bryce, and then there's Bryce Lee, and then there is Jonkel, and then there is Yori. So I think we're at 6 right now. Then there's the Arcaxer. Do you fight the Arcaxer twice?
No, you fight them once
Okay.
and then you fight Toxic Mass, which is like
Okay,
a 2
cool.
part
So, yeah.
boss battle.
Yeah. So I guess it's 2 per block plus. So that's 8 right now. Then we have the Desert Boss, the Bone Summoner.
And the Bone
it's
Summoner.
9. We got the. I'm not going to spoil the post game content because that's still
Yeah.
relatively new.
Yeah.
But there's 2 more fights there. One of my favorite bosses. Actually, 2 of my favorite bosses.
Yeah, those are very fun.
I think I fought the boss in the desert. Is that when you first spawn and you take a right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how you get the skateboard. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a pretty cool fight. How many
He
floors?
was a fun one. He was like the spirit of Sandy Bridge.
Mhm.
How many floors are there in total in the stack?
I think there's close to 100. I
Right.
don't
I think
remember
it says on
exactly.
the side 87. I think it's 87 at the top of the stack.
87 is I think the beginning of RGB block.
Oh,
Right.
okay, cool.
So there's going to
So
be
it gets pretty
87
close to
plus
100.
15. So yeah, close to 100 floors.
And then there's the Vienna floors on the post-game content. So yeah.
Yeah. So then there's a whole nother kind of smaller dungeon after you beat the game.
Wow, that's a lot of content. I mean, what do you think the average time is to beat the game? What would you say it is for someone who's just
I think we
starting?
estimate around 20-25 hours right now.
Oh, okay.
And that's if you're like playing the game, doing some side quests. If you're bad at the game, like I am, it's about 30.
Right, okay.
Some people can like rip right through it. We had one person do the base game in 11 hours, and I know that because he commented 11 hours to complete on Steam, nice and easy. So I would anticipate like the really fast people can do the whole thing in like 15, 16 hours. But yeah, usually 20, 25.
And what's the price on Steam for the game?
So on all platforms, it's $24.99, and it'll still be that price once it launches on the MetaQuest. It is a little higher than a lot of VR games, but we think because of how long the game is, you'll definitely get your money's worth.
Yeah, I'd say you definitely do get your money's worth because it's not easy. It's a really good challenge, and it just looks really cool. The art style,
Thank you.
it just looks really cool, and
Thanks, man.
I got sucked into the world. But yeah, like I said,
Yeah.
Go on.
Oh, Anthony did most of the story and most like the dialogue. So the characters really are. It's a really fun place to kind of mess around. Yeah.
Yeah.
The vibes are easy.
Are you looking to add to the game, or once it's released on the Quest, or like DLC and things like that, or is the game going to be kind of on the store and then just bug fixing and stuff like that?
So I think after release, we'll definitely do a few bug fixing patches.
Mhm.
We've definitely done a lot of QA for this launch, so the game is very stable right now. But yeah, if anyone finds any problems, we will be fixing them for a while. But as far as major content, we're kind of moving on to our next game right now.
Ooh, okay.
Which will be a sequel for Arcaxer 1.
With regards to the sequel and multiplayer, are you looking to do it, like you were saying, to summon your friend to the dungeon to help you out, or are you still working on things to maybe get it to work so that you can do the entire game together?
So we haven't quite ironed out exactly the mechanics we want for co-op in the next game. We're either going to have, like Aaron said, some kind of summon mechanic where you could summon your friends in to help you during the campaign, or we might just make an entirely different cooperative, like just dungeon roguelike exploration mode.
Oh, cool. And what are you thinking to do with... So you got mechanics, obviously, in the first Arcaxer. What are you looking to expand on, and like what are you looking to add to the sequel?
So we have some big changes we're going to do to the combat system. And actually, if you want a preview of some of that, we are adding a secret boss to the MetaQuest Store release version at the very end of the game, which actually kind of previews a little bit of the direction we're going with the combat. So when you actually fight that boss, the combat system is actually a little bit different than the rest of the game. So
yeah, it's adding a little more strategic depth, a little more variety to attack types. It's pretty cool.
Right.
Yeah. Is there anything specific that you felt in the original Arcaxer that once you started making it, there were some other things that you wanted to add, but it was kind of a bit late down the line? Is there things that you wanted to put into the second one?
Yeah, so one of the big things definitely was a real party system.
Yeah.
When I first started working on the game, I intended there to be no party members, so the entire combat system was just built around just being you versus the enemy team. But later on, as we kind of developed the story more, I wanted more of that classic JRPG feel with like kind of accumulating party members as you played through the game. So we kind of implemented party members, but as summon spells, so you could kind of summon them to help you in battle, but there wasn't really that like deeper party management system you'd expect in an RPG where you kind of collect party members and fit them out with gear and abilities and stuff like that. And that's something we really want to do in the next game.
Oh, cool. And have you given any thought to like PvP?
A little bit. PvP, I think, is kind of a different beast because either I feel you have to design all the abilities in the game around the idea of PvP, and you know this spell might act one way in the story, but against another player, you know, would this be OP? How would this interact? Would this be fun? So there is kind of the challenge of, if we do PvP, trying to design the whole game around it, or we could just have an entirely different set of abilities just for PvP, and maybe you'd have a PvP specific gear you would collect if you wanted to fight other players. But because of the complexity of having to design those extra systems, PvP isn't super high on our list. We think most people are mainly interested in just being able to play the game together cooperatively, so we'll probably focus on that first, and then maybe later on down the line, if we want to do PvP, we'll figure something out.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. It'd be great doing it in co-op for sure. And if PvP was something in the future, I think that'd be quite popular too. But again, it's getting it to work. It's not just like you're doing it on a PC game. It's VR. It's a whole different beast. Have you
actually turn-based PvP? That's a whole animal. Yeah.
In your minds, do you have an ETA just for a sequel? Would it be like 3 years, 2 years, 4 years? Do you have any ideas?
We're going to aim for somewhere around 2 years, but you know, of course, game development is complicated and things are subject to change. But I'd say tentatively we're aiming for about 2 years out.
2 years, okay.
The initial build for Arcaxer was about a 2-year dev cycle, but that was 2 years of nights and weekends and working 3 jobs, so it was a lot. I'm really excited for what we're going to be able to do with 2 years of focused, funded dev time for Arcaxer 2.
Yeah, because you did mention that you were doing it like evenings, weekends, and things like that. Is this now going to be your full-time jobs, doing the game development side of things?
Yeah, just about. This is our main kind of job now, with a little bit of other development on the side, but primarily, most of our time is going to be going into this now.
Oh, cool.
It's really exciting.
Yeah. How many games would you say you've made in total, just between the two of you?
As far as like the games that we've actually released, it's mostly just 2. There was Wave Magic, and then now Arcaxer. Of course, we had kind of little fun side projects and hackathons and stuff we did before then, but I wouldn't really consider those like full released products.
Okay.
While I was contracted, I've worked on Rec Room, so I don't want to take all the credit for that, but I'm going to.
Aaron made Rec Room all by himself.
Well, they keep putting my outfits in commercials at least, and that makes me happy.
There you go.
I worked on a couple of other games. One was like a 3D Amogus that got further than not finished, but it kind of blew up on early access, and then another one that's not gonna get released.
Yeah. Okay, so you got your fingers in a lot of pies, different games. What?
I did, but that was the whole 3 jobs aspect. No, just the one pie.
What's the one?
What's a hackathon, for those who don't know? Because you mentioned a hackathon.
Oh yeah, we used to do these a lot. So a hackathon is where you meet up somewhere. It's usually an event put on by someone, and you kind of form teams, and there's usually a theme around it, and you try to develop an app or a game in a short amount of time, usually just a couple days, and then usually at the end they're judged and they have prizes and stuff. A lot of the hackathons we did were less games and more try to make an app for this new technology. Like we did one for the Microsoft HoloLens that we actually won. That one was really fun. We've done ones for like Verizon, AT&T, where the themes were like, oh, make an app that takes advantage of 5G or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's really cool, man. You guys have been pretty busy over the past few years. How did
Definitely.
How did the pandemic affect your, the timing of your, Arcaxer?
Well, it killed the hackathons for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as far as terrible as the pandemic was, I will say it did kind of afford us extra time to work on Arcaxer.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say overall the pandemic probably actually helped us put in
Well,
more time into the game.
Not just gave us more free time, it gave a lot of other people more free time to dig around on side quest. It really helped us find our early audience. And we were all suffering together playing Arcaxer. It was the best of a bad time.
Yeah, a lot of developers were quite busy during that period. A lot of people that I speak to. The thing is, it was obviously a really bad thing that was going on, but a lot of people have brought out some really cool games since then. And like you said, there's a lot of people. Well, everyone was at home, weren't they? So, and the Quest 2 sales must have just exploded over that period of time.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. What are your favourite games of all time? So let's go with like your favourite console or PC game.
Aaron, you go first.
Okay. It's probably Earthbound, which is really a very classic, boring indie developer answer, but I've just played it, 20 times, and I love the stupid humor, and I love how off the wall it is, and you might notice in Arcaxer, I love bright colors and purple shaded palettes, and a lot of that is in Earthbound too, so, yeah.
What kind of game is that?
Earthbound? It's like a vintage JRPG. It came out on the SNES. It looks like an NES game. It's all super low-def pixel art, but the ideas are really stupid and off the wall and zany with a capital Z. So yeah.
How about you? T?
For me, that's a really hard choice. I'd say my favorite games are like Smash Bros. For sure. I sink a lot of time into playing Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. It's definitely my favorite game to just get the boys together to play something on the weekend.
Yeah.
As far as like single player games, I really like the Persona series. There's a lot of inspiration in Arcaxer from those JRPGs. I really like recently Elden Ring. I thought was amazing. I've played through that game almost 3 times now.
Wow.
And as far as like competitive games, I've been playing a lot of Teamfight Tactics and recently Overwatch 2.
Yeah, I did play Elden Ring for about 30, 40 hours, I think. And then VR took over again, but I do need to play that. Have you played the VR mod at all on Elden Ring?
Oh no, I've seen a little bit of it. I haven't tried it yet. Have you tried the VR mod?
I haven't, no.
Yeah, it's really demanding, isn't it? It's going to be on your PC, so it depends on what build.
Yeah.
What PCs do you guys have then at the moment? What are your builds?
Ooh, I'm super into PC building. I actually just upgraded mine. I've got a new 12th gen i7. I've got the NVIDIA 3080. I guess that's kind of the most important part.
Yeah. Let's see, my Mobo and processor, that was early pandemic, I think 2020, so they're fairly recent. I just picked up a 3080 from Best Buy when the prices dropped. That was a really cool find. I found a nice cheap one that didn't cost me a full month's rent. So
nice. And what headsets are you looking forward to the most? There's quite a few on the horizon. There's like the PSVR 2. You got the new the Pico headsets coming out really soon in my end of the world. What excites you the most? What's your most anticipated headset?
I'm really excited for the Quest Pro, just based on a lot of the leaks I've seen. I think that headset's going to have a lot of interesting features that I think is going to make specifically social VR really cool. The Pico 4, I think is a really cool headset. I've used it myself, and just the comfort alone is like a real game changer. I think it's really important for headsets to be comfortable because you have to wear them on your head for a long time. So that's like a really big thing with me. With headsets is just how long you can wear them. I think the Pico 4 is like definitely a step in the right direction.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm a very simple man. I like the Quest 2. It's affordable. It's inside out. It's not too heavy, although Anthony is right. The new Pico is real sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a couple of friends who already have it, and some are still waiting for it. It looks like a really cool headset. It's really light as well. So the Pico looks like it's gonna be a bit of competition for Meta, I guess. But I think Meta have got such a head start, haven't they, in the VR market?
Particularly in the EU non-China sphere. Yeah, they've just got an iron grip on it.
Yeah, and is Arcaxer going to be, or is it already on the Pico storefront?
It is on the Pico storefront right now. It's only released on the China storefront at the moment. We're waiting for approval to go to other regions at the moment, but it should be there really shortly.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did it perform in China though? Because China, they love that. Like in that side of the world, they love their RPGs, don't they?
Yeah, it's doing really good in China. We have a really good relationship with the Pico team. So we've been working with them for quite a while, and they're big fans of Arcaxer as well.
Yeah,
they've been really good to us.
And did you have to go through the process of getting everything translated over to Chinese with all the text and stuff as well?
Yeah, that was a really fun. I had never localized a game before, so that was a whole new process to me. A lot more challenging than you might think, especially with our game that has so much text in it.
Yeah.
Well, as you play through Arcaxer, you might notice there's a lot of meme humor and internet culture and made up words. Yeah. So the Chinese translators had a lot of fun questions.
I loved obviously we'd give all the text to the translators, and then they would come back to us with questions, and some of the questions were just really hard to explain. It's really hard to explain like Western memes and pop culture references, and in a way that like, okay, you have to now turn this into a joke that makes sense for a Chinese audience now.
Oh, so you actually changed some of the dialogue?
I mean, they had to,
Yeah.
My favorite though is it wasn't even a meme; it was just a pun. The combo plate. They had such a long question about the combo plate, and it was just your explanation was so funny.
And explain in detail what a combo plate was, as far as, because we have an armor in the game called the combo plate, which is like a breastplate, but it's also named after like ordering a combo plate at a restaurant, which would be like an entree and a side.
Yeah.
And I had to explain in detail what that meant.
What was the process like then? Like, how long did that take? It must have taken ages to get everything translated over and to make sense as well once it was translated over.
Yeah, it was like it was a few months process of just going back and forth with the QA team, and then obviously eventually we have to put that text into the game, and then we have to get that back to them, and they have to play through the game and make sure all the text shows up correctly and all that stuff. It's kind of interesting knowing that there's almost this whole other interpretation of the game's dialogue in the game that I can't understand. So
yeah, I really want to talk to someone who's like equally fluent in English and Chinese and get their vibe on Chinese.
I trust our localizers. I'm sure they did an amazing job, but I cannot say that the localization is good because I can't understand the text.
Yeah, you'd have to, like you said, get someone who speaks both languages, right, fluently, and go through it. Yeah. What's your?
We do have. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
We have one user who's Japanese, and we have a Japanese translation in the game too. But they're very fluent in English. So they kind of gave me a rundown on the Japanese translation, and it seems like it got the point across. A little stiff here and there, just because we use budget translation. But yeah.
What games are you guys looking forward to the most on the VR landscape? Because it does go a bit dry. If it wasn't for things like App Lab, it'd be really, honestly, it would be pretty dry right now. But luckily, I've delved into App Lab and I've found some really cool hidden gems. So, is there anything in particular that you're looking forward to in the next 6 months or so that's on the horizon?
Well, I've been really excited about. I'm hoping to get more info on that Grand Theft Auto San Andreas port.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to be really cool if they do that well. Let's see, what else is coming out soon? I just finished Bone Lab, which was an amazing game. I can't stop thinking about it, and I'm really excited for some of the mods that I'm sure we're going to get very soon for that game.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Honestly, I think now that we're starting to play again and most of our friends have VR headsets, we should probably just pick up Demio. That seems like a fun way to hang out.
Yeah.
Demio's been pumping out a lot of cool updates for that
Yeah, they've
game.
done quite a few little expansions.
Yeah, I haven't played it for a while, but there's been a few expansions. It's a really cool game. It's really chilled out as well, and you can even play it lying down. I don't know if you knew that, but I've actually played Demio lying down. Yeah.
I haven't tried that.
Yeah, so
I've got a couch that it's calling my name now.
it is really good fun. I do enjoy it. It's just getting people together, isn't it? And just do a session. Do you guys game a lot? Do you have a lot of time for game? Because obviously you're making the game and you're constantly doing that. Do you get a lot of time gaming throughout the week, or is it really restricted?
Not as much time as I would hope. I got a huge backlog of stuff that I really want to play. But yeah, I mean, I'd say a lot of my free time is definitely spent playing games with the guys or playing single player games, just trying to stay on top of what all the latest stuff is. I think it's important as a game developer to know what is current.
Yeah, definitely. Is there anything that you would say to someone who's thinking about getting into game development, or like a indie developer? I always ask this to any developers that come on. Did you want to say anything to those people?
Yeah, I would say if you want to get into making games, you should just do it. Honestly, the best thing you could do is to just pick a game engine, pick a simple, complicated. A lot of people say start simple. Yeah. I say just pick an idea that you're interested in. Doesn't matter if it's simple or not. As long as you're getting in there and just trying to make something, just make a prototype, anything, release it, have your friends play it, and just the key is to just do it.
Yeah, that's really true. Especially because so much of it is, well, that's intimidating or that's too hard. Like, you're gonna figure out a way to do something, and if you don't, you'll figure out a way to do something else. My different advice is make friends. Have friends who want to do it too. It's really hard to do everything by yourself.
Yeah.
You always see people, like, I've been grinding away at my indie pixel art game for 5 years. I did everything on my own. My girlfriend left me. I quit my job. And then they release a game that is not great. Doing everything yourself is really hard. So if you make some friends, you can kind of keep that energy up and you can kind of take the weight off each other's shoulders.
Great. Just wanted to say, guys, thank you very much for coming on. It's been really interesting talking to you and learning more about the game. And do you want to let everybody know where to find you? Discord and Twitter and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, of course. On Twitter, we are at Arcaxer1. On YouTube, we are Overrun Games. You can find our Discord on our website. Just go to arcaxer.com. We got links to everything there.
Yeah, the Discord's really happening. There's a lot of people on there that just like talking about VR games, RPGs, silly memes that they heard recently. So we're really excited to get some of this new crowd in there talking to our old reliable fans.
Excellent. And the game will be coming out on the 13th. So when this is aired, it's coming out tomorrow, basically.
Yeah.
And that's going to be
October 13th.
Yes. Looking forward to it, guys. Best of luck with that, because I think you're going to shift a lot of units.
Yeah, thank you so much. We're really excited and also really stressed out. Launching a game is really stressful and super exciting at the same time.
Yeah. Just once you see it on the storefront, then it will hit you like a ton of bricks, right? When you see it on the Quest 2 storefront. Have you got? Yeah, go on.
Definitely going to be surreal.
Do you have some kind of launch day party going on?
We're planning something. We don't have all the details yet, but we're hopefully gonna have some big launch party and get all our friends together and maybe get some headsets.
That's a good chance for a little plug though. We're gonna be on the Quest 2 community group with Eric Masher that night, kind of talking to them about the whole process and doing like a, maybe not a sales tracker, depending on how sad that number is, but definitely trying to get
we'll
just
see.
new people engaged with us.
Yeah.
And then we'll be doing a live stream on Friday, just trying to talk to the new community, talk to the old community, and kind of just do a community roundabout on our YouTube page. So
Okay.
that's our immediate plans for celebrating.
Nice. And people can just wishlist it, right? They can wishlist it and get it ready for the release.
Yep, you can wishlist it right now.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. What I'll do is I will link everything in the description below, so all your links for Discord and the game, so that everyone can just click on it and jump aboard. And yeah,
Awesome.
definitely. It's been great talking to you guys. If you've enjoyed this content, then consider subscribing, because I have lots of indie developers and content creators on this podcast. I also cover a lot of independent games that find hidden gems that a lot of people haven't heard of. So yeah, thank you for watching, guys, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.
See you guys.